Hey yo guys, I'm here to give you my video, the first one of the week for WrestleMania weekend, as of course it's the biggest weekend here for, the wrestling community as a whole. I mean, there's just so much going on that, you really wish you could be down there for Houston, I know, but a lot of people who, I know it was, very expensive, it's all expensive and all. I mean, you're not talking just WrestleMania tickets and all the other events that are going on, which I plan on previewing here. This is what this video will be about. I will be previewing, talking about just, the important events that have already started today. But yeah, it was just all expensive, and with the way the economy is and whatnot, it sucks. But anyways, I'll be previewing or talking about some of the events. Some of them already happened and whatnot, but anyways, I'll be talking about, some of the events that happened today on Friday up until the end of the week. Tomorrow will be my WrestleMania predictions, as I said, as a whole. So kind of a cliffhanger video here. But anyways, so the weekend of WrestleMania weekend really officially got started, with the WWE and whatnot. They had a art gallery thing, with a lot of the artwork from, the likes of Jeff Hardy and Jerry Lawler, who has an amazing gift drawing. I mean, if you haven't seen some of his personal artwork, if you have older editions of WWF magazines from like 1994, a lot of the caricatures you're going to see in there are drawn by Jerry Lawler. And if you've seen his little thing on Confidential he had back in about 2003 or so, really shows his great artwork. So that was one thing. And of course there's WWE Fan Access, and if you're going to WrestleMania and you have an access ticket, I fully recommend going. Yeah, there's, the lines are going to be huge, as when I went for WrestleMania 18, there were lines to get into lines, which, is insane, but, the city as a whole makes a lot of money on the event. But anyways, the access as a whole, it's a great experience. Yeah, maybe a little kiddie and stuff. I mean, there's a video game tournament for the WWE Superstars, there's, live matches, and there's, like, Buggles' house or whatnot. You get to call a match with, I believe Michael Cole or something like someone of that nature, which I think is a cool thing. I mean, they've had that ever since, Fan Access was introduced at WrestleMania 10 back in New York. So I'm really a big proponent of going to that. It's, maybe a little too kiddie, but in the end, all wrestling fans of all ages are kids at heart. So I recommend going there. But now, really, the stuff that has officially started today, we started with Booker T's Legends of Wrestling Fanfest. Booker, being the smart man he is, realized that, WrestleMania is coming. I'm going to kind of take advantage of this. I'm going to be holding a fan fest since I'm from Houston and I, have a lot of connections and stuff. Really, this is going to be a great event. A lot of the TNA talent there's a lot of TNA talent that will be there. There's less in the past. There's some TNA talent that really wanted to be a part of this event, but unfortunately, that due to TNA running 2 house shows this weekend in the state of Louisiana, unfortunately, they could not make the show, but really, I'm the only guy that's really going to be able to make the Houston and then go over to Louisiana is Mick Foley. But I mean, just listening to some of it, I mean, the thing that's kind of sad about this event, first of all, is the fact that WWE heard about this and tried to pull talent. I mean, recently they tried to pull Jimmy Hart. I mean, they pulled Torrie Wilson and so many other people of that sort. But really, the main focus of this is for Booker T to raise money for the Fight for Kids Foundation and whatnot. It's a great cause. I mean, definitely recommend going as a whole. I mean, when you listen to some of the names that are going to be taking part in this, it's going to be really cool. I mean, there's TNA talent like, Kevin Nash will be there, Team 3D will be there, the Beautiful People will be there. But then, there's some name, and Sting will be there, and Mick Foley will be there. So now Sting's got an additional fee, and an extra, like, $50 or so to have an autograph with him. I don't know if it's really worth that, but Sting's having an additional charity for, Sting's thing is more so for him giving money to an additional charity. So I don't know if you really want to be there. But, there's a lot of names from the past, there's Lita going to be there. Spike Dudley, who I guess is re-signed with TNA and whatnot, he'll be there. Kishi as Rikishi will be there. Ernest the Cat Miller, Stan the Lariat Hansen, Chavo Guerrero Sr., Jimmy Hart was, like I said, he was just recently pulled, but then WWE allowed Jimmy to make the event, probably due to the fact that, they know if Booker leaves TNA that they would like to have him back because he's a great talent to have all around. Nasty Boys will be there, Jake the Snake Roberts, Diamond Dallas Page and his wife Kimberly, Tully Blanchard will be there. Former Steve Mondo McMichael and Steve Austin's wife Debra McMichael will be there. Daffney will be there. Missy Hyatt will be there, and former WWF Women's Champion, the Rockin Robin, will be there. So really, all in all, I think this will be a great event to go to, especially to meet people like Stan Hansen, DDP, Jake Roberts, and the Nasty Boys. There's a lot of good people here. You can meet Chavo Guerrero Sr. Really, I guess one of the things that would be cool to meet is Lita, because, Lita's not really in the business, but she doesn't do much wrestling stuff as a whole. But her doing this, I think, is pretty cool. And, you get to meet Samoa Joe. I don't know if he'll have the face painted on, but, it's the talent that's currently in the business still. I would definitely recommend see this event. And, its general admission into the event is $10, but fans that hold a Ring of Honor ticket will be provided free admission. So if you have a Ring of Honor ticket for the event tonight, which is Supercard of Honor 4, which for the past couple of years has been the best show that Ring of Honor Wrestling has put on, you will be getting free admission to the Booker T show. Now, on to Supercard of Honor 4. Really, this to me is become a part of WrestleMania weekend. The fact that Ring of Honor runs shows during the weekend. They're obviously not trying to steal WWE's thunder or anything like that. Ring of Honor knows that they have their own niche in the wrestling business and they're nowhere near WWE. But they were smart to do the first events, back in 2004 when no one had anything, like, people tried to get into the first, well, not the first, but, since the WWE revived the Hall of Fame, a lot of people wanted to go to that, but unfortunately were turned away. So Ring of Honor was like, hey, these people are turned away, why not come see, some great wrestling, just up the state in New Jersey. So that's what they did, and they've been doing it ever since. They didn't do it in 2005 as they felt that Pro Wrestling Guerrilla should be running the events, and they did. But ever since then, 2006, they were in Chicago where they had a match of the match of, like, a 5-star match in the middle of the card, with, the Dragon Gate matches, and, there were some great matches between Jimmy Jacobs and BJ Whitmer. However, I'm believing that's 2007. I don't know, I'm going off the top of my head here. 2007 was another great show, as well as 2008 last year, where you had, a great match between Austin Aries and Nigel McGuinness. Dragon Gate had another 6-man match. Just a great show overall. The Briscoes and the AJ match. Overall, great show. Ring of Honor looks to do the same tonight. Unfortunately, this will be the first year that Ring of Honor will not be having the Dragon Gate talent coming over, as Dragon Gate and Ring of Honor seem to have had a falling out due to the fact that Shima and Gabe Sapolsky had a big connection, but obviously since Gabe Sapolsky has left the promotion, I guess that's left Dragon Gates on the outs. But ROH, I guess, are enough to realize the domestic, how close they are and how big Houston has a Latino population. They've brought in, a lot of the lucha talents from AAA. They've brought in, the only people I know for sure they've brought in are Alex Kosloff of AAA, and they've brought in the NWA champion Blue Demon Jr., who has, a big fan following, more so for the name. But yeah, this is going to be a great weekend, a great night, and of course there's Pro Wrestling Noah talent. Kenta and Katsuhiko Nakajima will be making their returns to Ring of Honor. So, looking at the card, this is just going to be some great stuff. You got Rhett Titus versus Eric Stevens. Colt Cabana will take on D'Lo Brown. ROH Tag Team Champion Kevin Steen, Jay Briscoe, and Magno versus Chris Hero, Eddie Edwards, and Incognito, who is the original Mystico. ROH Team Champion El Generico will take on Claudio Castagnoli's Brent Albright and the NWA World Champion Blue Demon Jr. Tyler Black and the Necro Butcher will take on Jimmy Jacobs and Austin Aries. Bryan Danielson versus Alex Koslov, which should be an outstanding match. Roderick Strong and Katsuhiko Nakajima, another great match. And if you're looking for a stiff match, it'll be this one, as the GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion Kenta will take on Davey Richards, and the main event will be ROH World Champion Nigel McGuinness, new effing show Jerry Lynn, in a match where there is believed that there could be a title change due to Nigel McGuinness's injuries, but we'll just have to wait and see. If you're in Houston, definitely you could potentially see that, but if you're not, keep checking the ROH message boards. And then of course ROH then runs their second show of the weekend at 2 p.m. tomorrow night, Saturday afternoon. The Matt Noon, it's at 2, mainly so because Kerry Silkin realizes that, the WWE runs the Hall of Fame, which has also become something more of the lore for the WrestleMania weekend, and he wants to Kerry Slocum wants to attend the events and whatnot. Plus, it's also the fact that, you know, it sucks for a wrestling fan to have to choose between their product and, you know, the Hall of Fame, especially with the Hall of Fame class of this year. But anyways, it'll be taping. Once again, this pay-per-view could be good. I mean, it's looking good. I guess with all the WrestleMania type feel, the super big wrestling weekend, it's going to probably bring the best out of the Ring of Honor talent as it normally does. But anyways, running through the card, you got Colt Cabana versus Ace Steel, Bryan Danielson versus Jerry Lynn versus Eric Stevens versus D'Lo Brown, ROH Tag Team Champions Kevin Steen and El Generico, Jay Briscoe and Magno take on the American Wolves, Chris Hero and Incognito. Alex Kozlov will take on Roderick Strong. Jimmy Jacobs versus the Necro Butcher in a no DQ match, and that match should be a great no DQ match. That should be bloody. And the ROH World Tag Team Champion, World Champion Nigel McGuinness and Claudio Castagnoli, they'll take on the NWA World Champion Blue Demon Jr. and Brent Albright. So that should be a pretty interesting card. I mean, ROH once again, ROH Champion versus NWA Champion. I like that dynamic. But yeah, should be a great, you know, way for ROH to end up their weekend. And then we go to the semi-main event as we're on at the home stretch of WrestleMania weekend. It's the WWE Hall of Fame. Something that really, to me, this is awesome, is you get to see and hear, you know, get to see some of the legends from the past who you rarely get to see, television or whatnot. And you get to hear some great stories from the past. You know, it's just a great, showing the young fan with the old school fan and stuff of that nature. I really enjoy this weekend, the Hall of Fame ceremony, and of course, the whole basic undercard of the guys that they're inducting, with the exception of Austin, and I'm gonna guess Ricky Steamboat, since he's being inducted by Nature Boy Ric Flair. That'll air in an edited version on the USA Network at 10 p.m. and if you live in Canada, it will be replayed at 5 p.m. just 2 hours before WrestleMania goes live on pay-per-view. But yeah, I mean, this is a great weekend and all. You top this in with Access, and it kind of sucks that Access is going head-to-head with this, and some of their talent gets to miss out on this great weekend. I mean, to me, this is right up there. It's probably the best Hall of Fame class they've ever put in. 2006 would definitely be a running. When you had, Bret Hart go in, Eddie Guerrero go in. Yeah, Eddie may have gone in too soon, but still, it was, a great induction and whatnot. And Mean Gene Okerlund, and plus your undercard with, the Blackjacks, who had, some history in the state of Illinois, being inducted by Bobby the Brain Heenan. Sensational Sherry was, to me, the highlight of the show on the undercard. She was just great, just a great personality. And that's, and there was Tony Atlas as well. Tony told the great stories and whatnot. And just a great weekend. I mean, when you look at this card, you have Coco Beware being inducted by the Honky Tonk Man, some controversy about him, whatnot. But still, he's really the only flaw you could see. Howard Finkel, a man who truly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Guy that came up with the name of WrestleMania, which immediately liked, and that's why we have the name WrestleMania today. He's the longest serving, employee in the WWE. He's been there at least since the mid-70s. So, it's great to see Howard go in. I was very disappointed with the video package they put together with him, making him seem sort of a joke, more so than a great announcer. And, it's a shame that we don't get to hear more of him, as the WWE felt that he was too old looking, which is because look at the great ring announcers, Michael Buffer and Jimmy Lennon Jr. I mean, they're getting older by the day, and they're still fantastic ring announcers. He gets inducted by Mean Gene Okerlund, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat by Ric Flair, guy who absolutely deserves to go into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, the WWE Hall of Fame may not be a legit Hall of Fame and whatnot. I mean, when you look at, Pete Rose and Refrigerator Perry, but still, Steamboat is a guy that absolutely deserves to be in this Hall of Fame, one of the top 15 workers in the world, in North America, and the world for that matter. So definitely put Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in. He'll be inducted by Ric Flair, as I said earlier. He'll probably be inducted on the USA Network. Cowboy Bill Watts by Jim Ross. Jim's going to give a great speech. Jim thinks the whole world of Cowboy Bill Watts for basically getting him his start in the business and whatnot. So, and Bill Watts should give some great stories, as him and his South promotion ran around that whole region, in Louisiana, Texas, and whatnot. So, That was some great stuff. Not maybe so Texas, but around there, you know. Maybe some of the fans from Texas would go there. Probably the emotional one will be the Von Erichs, as Von Erichs are like the biggest. They were the biggest thing in Texas. Probably still are to this day. The biggest family. You know, one of the biggest families in the. Really, my words don't do justice what these people mean to the state of Texas as a whole. They get inducted by Michael Hayes. That should be an awesome speech from Michael Hayes. I mean, Michael Hayes is one of the greatest personalities to me in the business, so I'm really looking forward to what Michael can say. I mean, the Freebirds versus Von Erich feud, a classic in the wrestling business. You know, one of the original faction warfare feuds. Some great stuff. You know, the Funks going in, being inducted by Dusty Rhodes. There should be some great stories between the two. From Dusty, considering how Terry, you know, tries to still fight him over who's the bigger star in Texas and whatnot. And of course, Steve Austin being inducted by Vince McMahon. Really, I think that's going to be the most interesting one to see what Vince can say. I mean, this here just proves that Vince thinks Austin's the biggest star he's ever had in the business. That he's ever had somebody personally, you know, bigger than Hogan. So that just says a lot right there about Steve Austin. And, you know, Vince doesn't like to come out and give speeches or show up on camera. He likes to produce the thing from the back. That's a big deal right there for Austin. Austin, you know, all these guys really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm really looking forward to it, which, of course, takes us to Sunday, which is WrestleMania. And to me, if you're not going to the show, going for the other events, I may not blame you, but I don't know why you would pay all that money to miss out on the biggest wrestling event of the year. And with that, I'll leave you. Tomorrow there will be the WrestleMania predictions. But anyways, that is it for me. I am out. Peace.